Hello. Oops. Nice to see everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you all here with us. Hi, Vicky. We have two Vickies on today.
Yep.
Keep admitting some folks. Great to see you all. Well, all right then. Welcome to everybody here. I'm Iris. I work at Cashmere Goat in Camden, Maine, and this is our kickoff for our spring knit along, which is Love Note by Tin Can Knits. This is our third spring knit along. We typically do like some kind of sweater for April and May that could have some modifications in terms of fiber or short sleeve, long sleeve. And so we chose Love Note because there seemed like there was plenty of ways to customize the sweater and make it how you want it to fit you. But really happy to see some new faces and some familiar faces. So yeah, I thought maybe it'd be fun to, I remembered to record this time, so that's great. And that maybe we could do a little bit of an intro. Some of us do know each other here, but get a sense of who you are, where you're joining us from tonight, and how you got connected with us here at the Goat. And then after that, we can do some yarn show and tell, some love note show and tell. If there's questions, we want to get to those questions. So anyway, let's see here. On my screen, I have Vicky S up in my upper right corner. So Vicky, would you like to introduce yourself first?
That me?
Yeah.
So it's Vicky Spain.
Hi.
I'm from Columbia, Missouri. So I've been getting your newsletter for a while now, and I love to watch you two, you and the other lady, what's her name?
Kristen, the shop owner.
Kristen, the owner. Yes, y'all are so funny, and so I love to watch y'all every week. And so doing this knit along, I just finished the Linto sweater, which is kind of light and fluffy like this too, but I've never done the love note and wanted to do it. So I was like, I'm going to do that with them. So
Awesome. Say again where you're coming from. I missed it.
Columbia, Missouri.
Oh, okay, Missouri. Awesome. Well, welcome, Vicky.
Thank
And this
you.
is it your first knit along with us?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. Great. All right. Let's see. Next up, Beth McLean. How are you, Beth?
I am good. My name is Beth, and I'm from Norristown, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Philadelphia. Um, been on a bunch of these adventures, and the funny thing is that somebody had gifted me yarn and the pattern to make, and I just never made it. And so I was like, oh, this is great. But I did change out one of my yarns, the fingering. I changed out to a different yarn that I had. So I'm excited and see how it goes.
Awesome. Glad to have you back with us again. Let's see. Next up, Julie. Hi, Julie.
Hello. I am coming to you from Newcastle, Washington, just east of Seattle. I'm familiar with the shop because I'm a Knox County girl and go to the shop every time I get back. Um, And I looked at the love note and I said, I don't see myself in this sweater. But either my granddaughter or my daughter-in-law, maybe. So I got in touch with them, and my daughter-in-law said, yes, I would wear that sweater. But she is not somebody who has knit since she was a kid, so she had no idea how many yarn choices there would be. So she finally got back to me yesterday and said, well, I think the blue would be really pretty, and I'll trust your taste. So this morning you shipped to me Silkpaca and Delish so that I can do a sapphire blue sweater for my dear, dear daughter-in-law. But meanwhile, I'm still knitting the final of the bobble hats that you sent me the yarn for last summer. I wound up with enough for 3.
Okay, great. Well, when I saw your order come through, I was like, oh, yay, we'll see Julie again. Awesome. Beautiful colors.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited because I don't usually knit in blue for myself. So this is going to be interesting, and I'm going to have fun watching the tonality shift because I love that.
Wonderful. Well, glad you're here with us.
Thanks.
Let's see. Next, I have Teresa. Teresa, you're our only Teresa right now, so I can just be like, you're Teresa.
Yeah, until our other Teresa comes.
Right?
I'm Teresa. I'm from Pine Bush, New York, which is in the Hudson Valley, and know of the Cashmere Goat because Gwen and I have visited Camden for many years and
Awesome.
love the knit along.
Love having you here with us again. Yay.
Yeah.
Next up, how about Zina? Zina, how are you?
Hi, I'm Zina from Edison, New Jersey. This is probably my 5th call. So I I finished one love notes,
Oh
which
my
is
gosh,
I'm wearing now.
already?
Yeah. I had time because the gardening will start, so I wouldn't have that much time for knitting. So I decided to go ahead and finish while I have time. But I bought last 2 skeins of yarns from Lino, and I have left over from last year, KAL. I'm gonna knit another one for 10 years old for my friend granddaughter. So I still will be knitting with you and second one.
Great. Let me spotlight you. Just pause for a minute in our intros. Let's see. What yarn did you choose? Ah,
This one I had I think I bought from you Patagonia before, and I added to it red fingering. I think it's tercel or something,
okay.
because it was a little orangey for me, so I added a little more red, and those 2 together made the mix.
Beautiful.
So it's actually looks really good even from the back. I don't know if you can let me change the focus.
Nice. It looks so good. Did you decide to do the drop hem?
Hold on. I'll remove the blur. Yeah. So on the back, it looks really good. I like it. I did the short rows on the back. Not, I did half right on the back and half at the bottom, as the
Okay.
pattern says. And the sleeve, I just left it alone. I just close it as it is. Um, I didn't reduce number of stitches. I just left it as it is.
Oh, nice. Well, beautiful job. Congratulations. This might be, I don't know, a first time in a knit along that on the very first meeting we have someone with a finished sweater.
Well, I just want people to inspired.
I love it. I love it so much. And I'll tell you guys
So
later that I'm in the middle
it was easy
of
to knit.
oh, yeah. Sorry, I was interrupting you. Keep going.
No, it was very easy to knit, very quick knit. So I just want to, I wear it so people will get inspired maybe to really have one.
It's wonderful. I may have started casting on for a swatch with a different yarn, even though I'm well underway with my first, because I'm finding it so fun and so quick.
I really want to see how it's gonna look in lino. I have like 2.5 skeins left over from previous sweater, and you had 2 more, last 2. I bought just recently and want to see what it's gonna look like from this yarn. I love this yarn. This is excellent yarn.
Great. All right. So, well, thank you. Nice to have you along again. And next I have Donna. Donna, nice to see you.
Hi, nice to be here again. I'm Donna. I'm from Northern Colorado, and this is my third knit along with you. I found you when I was searching for a colorwork sweater, and you had the knit along for the dog star. So that's when I started with your knit along program, and I've had a lot of fun. And I was not going to do one because I have 3 big projects on needles already, and I just didn't want to miss out. So I'm one of the FOMO people.
Really glad to see you again.
Thank you.
Hey Gwen, I'm gonna just mute you just because we're getting a little bit of feedback, I think, from whatever's, I don't know. Anyway, so when it's your turn, just unmute, okay? All right, let's see. Next up, Kimberly. Hello, Kimberly. Getting there with that mute button. Sometimes they like to hide when you're on an iPad.
Yeah. Okay.
There you are.
Okay. I'm going to be a rebel without a cause.
Okay.
I
Great.
signed up just so I could be with the group. Doesn't mean I'm knitting one because I don't like it. I think it's great for people that like it, but for me, it's not for me. It's not for me, put it that way. So I'm just here because I like everybody.
Aww.
Can I still be here?
You can still be here.
I didn't want to be here under false pretenses and not say that out front.
Well, I will have to say that there were a couple of our regulars, our friends from Yarmouth, who might also sneak in to say hello at some point. So they were sad to think of missing out on all of you. So yes, possibly Mary and Karen might pop in sometime, but I'm glad to see you. Kimberly, what are you working on?
I'm actually working on the Barocco knit along. I'm on my blocks for April. I've gotten all of my blocks for January, February, March all done. So now I'm doing my first block for April, doing lace work. So and then these blocks only take a couple of days to knit up, and then I don't have a project on the needle, so I got to come up with something else. So
awesome.
I was looking through everything today, and I was like, oh. So I don't know what I'm going to do next, but everything I've done, this is the only thing I have on the needles right now. I normally have a couple of things, even a pair of socks, and I don't even have a pair of socks on the needles either.
Wow, you're a wild woman. Wild. Well,
So
glad
thanks
to
for letting
see
me hang
you.
out. I appreciate it.
Yeah, love to have you on board. We've got a fun community. Let's see, Laura. Hi, Laura Suzuki.
Hello, I'm Laura, and I'm just outside of Boston, down in Massachusetts. I don't know how I got connected with the Cashmere Goat other than I come to Maine a lot, and just may have learned about it in my travels up there. I have never done a KAL. I would still consider myself a novice knitter, even though I've been doing it for like 8 years now. And I've never done a sweater, even though I've like started, I don't know how many of them I've never finished because I haven't, like, I get stuck and then I move on to something else. So I was hoping that KAL with all the support would help me get over the finish line. And I have had the love note in my queue forever. And when I saw this come up, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. So that's why I'm here.
So you're a first time knit along with the goat. You're a first time knit along period and a first time sweater to
Pretty much,
hopefully
yeah.
finish. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy that you're here. And, I feel like what we've heard from folks is that I think it might have even been Gwen who said, the knit along community helps maybe her feel a little more brave about trying some new things. And we've got such a nice warm group always online to answer questions. And of course you can email me, but I think it is kind of a fun way to try something new. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you for having me.
Yay, welcome. Okay, now it's time for Vicky C. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, I'm Vicky from Lexington, Kentucky. I lived in Maine a long time ago, right out of college, and we come back to Maine every summer, and that's how I found the Cashmere Goat, just going up to Camden. And this is my fourth knit along, I think. And I also experienced fear of missing out because I'm signed up to do my local yarn shop sweater workshop starting next Wednesday. But I figured it out. I can do this from 5 to 6, then jump in the car and go across town and make it to my other one on the weeks that we have that. What I haven't decided is if I'm going to do the love note at both places and get it done faster and then maybe pick another sweater. So anyway, I like to
That sounds
complicate things.
well, it sounds like a good amount of like Wednesday night knitting. Sounds like a packed night of a lot of fun. So why not?
Sure.
Well, it's really great to have you again. Happy that you decided to hop in with us.
Thanks.
You are FOMO friends. Love it. Well, next on my screen is Sue. Hi, Sue. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Sue. I'm from Worcester, Massachusetts. I've been to your shop a couple of times because I've never considered myself a Cape Cod person. I've always gone to Maine for vacations and, stays up there. So I love your shop. And then when the KAL came along, I always wanted to do a love note. I had bought some yarn for it at the New England Wool and Fiber show, not this past fall, but the fall before, and had put it away and never touched it. So this is perfect.
Great. Oh, this is wonderful. I'm so glad. But this is your first knit along with us, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. We love it. So great. Yeah, I've heard from a lot of people that this has been one of those designs that they've had lingering around in the queue and
Right.
just never got around to it. So
So this is perfect.
so good to have you. Okay, Gwen, can you unmute for me?
There we go.
Okay, awesome.
I'm Gwen from Highland, New York, and also in the Hudson Valley. And as Teresa already said, we traveled to Camden, and that's where we met the goat. And I've done about a year and a half now. I've been working with the knit along, so they're fun, and I learn a lot, and I enjoy all the people that are part of it, and they help me educate myself as a knitter, and I love being here.
We sure love having you, and glad that you started to knit along with us because you're always picking great colors and adding your smiling face to this mix. So it's nice to see you again.
Thank you.
All right, let's see, Karen Welch. Hi, Karen.
So I'm Karen Welch, and I was introduced to the cashmere through a friend, Wendy Callis. And yeah, I think she's well known in the cashmere circle. But anyway, and I am going to knit along because I need to always have something in my hands. And and so Iris, I'm still waiting for my yarn, but that's we just purchased it. So, and thank you so much for your help in the color choice. So I'm very excited.
I'm very excited to see that knit up for sure. Because it was the beautiful combination of the nimble sock with on the round and the season of the witch, plus that gorgeous olive silk paca, which is just stunning.
Yeah, so we'll see. It's going to be great.
Hopefully you'll get it soon. And Karen, are you in Maine?
No, actually, I live in Western Colorado. So I know there was another woman that said Northern Colorado. So I'm in Carbondale, Colorado.
Great. Well, so glad to have you along. I hope you love your yarn when it gets to you. Bev, you're next up on my screen. Hi, Bev. There you go.
Technology's smarter than I am, but what's new? I love the sweater, but unfortunately, the lace doesn't exactly fall on a part of my body that's, shall we say, stunningly attractive. Plus, the next 10 weeks, I'm going to miss over half of the meetings, but I'm like everybody else. It's like, you're my peeps, and I need your inspiration, and I need your community. So whenever I can, I'm going to watch, and I'll make this sweater eventually, just not for me. Unless, of course, a miracle occurs and I lose some weight. But I'm always glad to be here, and I'm always glad to see you folks. It's like I've never met any of you except Iris, but you're friends. And I like that about this. So
definitely. Well, we love having you, and I know that your life will be getting pretty busy here soon. What are you working on? Are you working on your grid gambit?
Yes. Yep. I'm still working on my grid gambit. But it's coming much more easily now. I'm definitely getting the flow of it. So I like that.
For those of you,
yeah, and I have enough yarn to make 3 more, so we're good to go.
Great. I think it is one of those patterns that people like to knit more than one of. And I did hear from so many folks who found the Grid Gambit was our March knit along for any of you that don't know. And there were definitely folks who, felt like it was a little bit of a rough onboard, just the way it began and getting into the rhythm with it. But hopefully it sounds like you've got the click. The click has happened for you.
Yes, my make ones are correct now. They're not make one wrongs, like I said before. So, to me, I've learned something and I've mastered something. So it's a success.
Yes, always. Love it. Well, thanks for being here. And next up, I have Teresa S. Hi, Teresa.
Hey there. I'm Teresa from Middle Peninsula of Virginia. Let's see. I don't know how many Cashmere Goat KALs I've done because I've done them all, I think. But I always love coming back to them. And even though this pattern is a little out of my comfort zone, not something I would usually wear, making it anyway. Out of my comfort zone is not necessarily a bad thing. So looking forward to it.
Wonderful. It's awesome to have you back for another one of our veterans. And next up on my screen, I have Shulon. And your camera's off, your mic's off, so I don't know if you want to introduce yourself or not, but just give some space if you do. You can just also come back. Well, I always, do
I'm
the
on
knit.
the bus.
Oh,
That's
hey.
why I ain't speaking. I'm on the
Oh,
bus right now.
oh, okay. Hi. Well, then feel free to just like stay in and listen, but it's nice to have you back.
You too. Thank you. Glad to see you.
Yeah, it's been a few knit-alongs since we've had you on here, and I was like,
Well,
I think we know that face or that name.
and then I had seen y'all was doing the grid gambit
Yep.
cow, and then I could show that next time when I come on. But I did
Okay.
start it.
Oh, yes, we would totally love to see your grid gambit. Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'm glad you came back.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. Well, it's so fun to connect with the folks who've been here before, but nice always to have the new faces too. So let me show you my progress because I am just sort of going right along with this guy, and I have one sleeve is done. And I'm doing my short rows, but I didn't trust myself to do short rows on a Zoom. So, but my lace looks very squishy, and that's because I haven't blocked anything, but it's such a fun pattern and just goes really quickly. So I may have just decided that I might do another one. So I put a swatch, like, so if I get any chance to knit, I'll have something to swatch. So this is the Land du Nord Cash Silk Cotton. It is so light and fluffy that I kind of like can't even feel it as I'm trying to knit it. So I think it will work out. It felt really, really sloppy on a 10. So, but I think it's too fuzzy on its own to hold with another yarn. So I'm kind of thinking I'll single strand it, but I'm gonna play around with my needle sizes and see what I can come up with. But it's really soft. It's wool, cashmere, and cotton, maybe a little silk, I think.
Very pretty colors on your the pink one.
Yeah.
And what are those colors?
So these colors are Zina from Seven Sisters, Karen Grover, and that's on her sock base, Meridian.
Okay.
And it's actually even like a little lighter. I'm kind of in the shadow in the corner here, and then I took a Lang lace in a like pretty hot pink to go with that. I tried it with Silk Paca first because there's a pretty bright pink of Silk Paca, but there was just a little too much white in it, and I felt like it was attracting my eye too much, and so I decided to try this, and I'm much happier with it.
Nice. Nice.
And I've got, like, when I list my needle sizes on my Ravelry product page, it's gonna look crazy because I did one size for my sleeve. I went up like half a size to a 10.5, and then I went only down to size 8 on the neck and the cuff ribbing at one of my sleeves. And I'm not sure. I don't like a bottom of my sweater that sucks in too much. So I'm hoping the 8 will still be good, but who knows? I might have to like tear back and just go down one size for that. We'll see.
So you're making your neckline a little bit smaller instead of so wide?
So what's interesting is I actually, this was a moment where I almost misread the pattern because I was not paying attention. When I went back and picked up my provisional cast on, I think I had something like 104 stitches, let's say. And I thought, oh, wow, that's going to be such a wide neckline. But then it was, I think one of my sweet coworkers like, no, you're decreasing before you go down your needle size, Iris, and by quite a lot, actually. So I think I was supposed to go down to like 60 stitches or something, 66. And I was like, okay, that's a shade too far. Like I don't like a really wide neckline, but I don't know if from the original pattern, maybe they did bring it in a little bit more, because I noticed too in some of those early pattern pictures look pretty wide. So I just went down to 72 stitches around, and I felt like that. I tried it on too. So I knit, this was on the provisional. I knit all the way down, then put my stitches on the body on hold because I wasn't sure. You know, I think they say this in the pattern that, you know, the weight of it will affect the fit. So then I tried it on. I figured out what I wanted for my collar. I knit the collar. Then I knit the one sleeve. Now I'm doing the bottom, and then I'll do the other sleeve to break up my sleeve island situation.
I was looking at the video that y'all have for that shows the one lady that's done it 6. She's made 6 of them, and she's, you know, for some of you guys, if you haven't seen it, she didn't do the lace on a couple of them, and she says it's like a sweatshirt, so nice. But then she talked about making the neck smaller, and she was like, I can't remember what she said. I probably need to go back again, but it's like she addressed that just quickly, you know, that she did less row. I need to look at it again, but
I noticed that too, which is why I wondered, like, maybe there had been a pattern adaptation too. But like, I loved that video and decided to include it in our playlist for the knit along because it was just so fascinating to see the same body with all these different ones and how it can be worn and adapted. And I have another local goat who didn't prefer the lace, and so she's doing a laceless love note as well. And her one adaptation after looking at some things on Ravelry for that was, I think she spread out her decreases, not just all to be in like the one row, because some other Ravelers were talking about how that could be a little puckery if you don't have the lace going on to sort of to spread, you know, kind of everything gets a little stretched out. But yeah, fun.
Yeah, I watched that video too, and I, based on that, because I think the reason I never made it before was I didn't like the lace work on it. And she made one of them where she actually inserted a different lace pattern. So that's what I'm trying. Is I looked at found a lace pattern that would fit in the, you know, the stitch count, and we'll see what it looks like. I'm just starting on. I'll get like one section done. If I like it a lot, then I'll keep going. But
that's awesome. What'd you choose for yarn, Beth?
So it's hard because the sun is coming in the house at the front right now, so I've got everything all closed up. But let me see if I can. So the fingering is like an off-white with like different colors in it. I think it's called it's Kim Dye's yarn. And it's Spring Lawn. And then the fuzzy stuff is like yellow, but again, it's also got like a variegation in it with the pinks and the greens. So it's turning out like it is coming, the yellow is really coming through. Because the other yarn I had to go with it was just plain yellow, and I didn't think I would like all yellow. So yeah.
It's so such a springy palette. It's so pretty.
Yeah. So we'll see how this change of lace pattern goes.
Nice. Well, I can't wait. You'll have to send me a picture. I love it. And Donna, were you gonna pop in?
Yeah, I was gonna say so many things. Everyone has said the same for me. It's not really my style of sweater, but I decided I'm just going to attack it and make as many modifications as I want to. So I made the neckline smaller, and I added some German short rows to the back. And then I'm bringing the lace pattern up higher because I'm going to give it to my daughter-in-law. And you know, I don't want her to have to layer it. I want her to be able to wear it alone if she wants to. So I'm going to go ahead with the long sleeves and longer body, but I'm bringing the lace pattern up. So I did all of that and did one round of the lace pattern this morning, and I didn't really care for it. It was still really open. You know, it's just still a lot of exposed skin. And I even went down on my needle size from 10 to 7. I'm using just it's a Barocco vintage DK. And so I ripped out all the lace I did this morning, and I'm starting over again with a different lace pattern. So I'm doing the same thing many of you are doing with modifications and just trying to make it my own. I like the sleeves and I like the body on it. The upper part was just not really my style or hers either, I think. So especially it seemed like on a lot of the models, the lace really dipped low and it was maybe wasn't sitting in the right spot for some people. So I thought I'd play it safe and move everything up and make it smaller. So I'm going by.
I think also that has to do maybe a little bit with ease, with the amount of ease that a person chooses. I noticed that as well. I think the ones with less ease, like you know, the pattern picture that has Amy Gillet, like of La Bien-Aimée, she's wearing the brownish one. Hers is a little more close fitting and it does sit up a bit higher, but yeah, I definitely noticed that.
Yeah. So, but it's fun. It's fun making modifications as well. I use patterns like I use recipes and just start with a suggestion and then make it my own usually. So
love that. It's a great analogy. Anybody else want to weigh in with either a yarn share or any questions that may be popping up?
I have a question and I'll share my yarn.
Oh, great. Let me spotlight you.
Okay. So this is my yarn. It is. I don't know if this brand is around anymore. It's called Jade Sapphire, and it is 100% cashmere. And I came upon this yarn as a gift from a friend. Her mother bought the contents of a yarn shop when it closed. And then when she passed away, my friend brought all of her goods home with her. And then she told me, pick out anything that you want that has any kind of green in it, because I don't like green yarn. And I don't think I even knew what I was getting when I got this. But I have like 6 skeins of this.
Wow.
And then the other color, there were only 3 of these, but it's a variegated one. And I've made a Sophie scarf out of one of these. So I have a couple left. And my question is, well, talking about that lace pattern, I read on a few patterns on Ravelry that some people did not repeat the lace pattern as many times. So
in terms of like just doing 2 as opposed to 3, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not real sure what to do about the size to pick, because if I'm a medium on here, first time I've ever been a medium. So I like that. 44 and a half. If I went up to like an extra large, that 12 more inches, that just seems kind of excessive. But would a 48, like I don't want the sweater to be clingy at all. I don't know. You're muted.
I had to mute to cough and then I forgot to unmute. So in terms of you're looking at your like your natural bust size and worrying about it being too snug. That's the question.
Or too big. If I if I only go up one size, you're only going up 4 inches. But then the next jump up, it would be 12 inches.
So my gauge was a little different. I actually I got 4.5 stitches per inch with mine, and I really like the fabric. So I ended up doing some calculations and figuring out what size to make based on the actual gauge I was getting. But I think mine is measuring out about 4 inches of ease. And for me, I feel like that is a comfortable amount of ease in terms of how it's sitting on my body. It does not feel skin tight. I feel like it's airy, but it's sitting, the lace is all sitting up here, you know, like above my down there part, you know. um and I also was noticing, and this is an observation I don't know if others have had, but like when I look at the pattern pictures, and this is both for the ranunculus sweater, which is a similar round yoke, lacy, comes in lots of ease. When I look at the pictures of ranunculus and of love note, the people that I think really, and this is me, this is my personal preference. For me, when I'm looking at people, knitters, and in the pattern picture with a lot of positive ease, it seems like that really works on like very slender bodies. And I think that the more curvy some of us are, maybe actually a little less ease. I mean, I don't want to wear skin tight anything myself either, but you know, I'm like, I don't know, 42 or something, chest or whatever. And I think that sometimes it can be a really tricky thing. I think for years I was like overestimating the amount of ease I wanted. And then once I started to realize what my sweet spot was, which is more like up to 4 inches, 2 to 4 is really where I like to wear my things, then I don't know. It's such a personal thing. And sometimes it's like, for me, it was really scary to think that I would have less ease than a pattern suggested. But then when I realized, like, well, I kept measuring my sweaters, I kept looking at the things that felt comfortable. And like, I was fortunate that I had my ranunculus to like measure this one against. And it kind of it came out fairly similar. So about 2 to 4 inches of ease is where I like to land. So you might be okay with that smaller size.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's helpful.
Anybody else have opinions on that?
I struggle with size too. Originally I was going to do the large because that would give me a little more positive ease. But then when I finished my dog star and it's gigantic, it's like, I don't know that I want to have something that big. So I even went down a size. I'm doing the medium. I'm doing originally I was going to do the large. And then I decided I'm going to just go with the medium. And because that would be like that'd be like 2 or 3 inches of ease. And I tend to knit very loose anyway. So I might end up with a little bit more give on it. But that was I had actually started the large and I thought, I don't know that that's going to work because I don't want to wear, I was talking with Gwen last night. I don't want to wear a sweater that's like a cape. You know, I don't want it to look like a cape. I want it to look like a sweater.
Right.
If I want a cape, I'll make a cape.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I can show my colors.
Great. Let me spotlight you.
Okay. I wanted to do something pink. I don't know why, but I did. I wanted to do something pink. So I did, this is Fino Ballroom. So it's kind of a peachy pink.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
And then I went with Kid Silk Haze, and this is Rose. But my concern was that this would be this would have too much blue undertone and this would have too much yellow undertone. I was afraid they weren't going to work because it's hard to tell with pictures, right? So I said, you know what, I'll get them. And if I don't, I can always work something out. Well, I actually like what I'm getting.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So
it's
I'm happy. So
that's
I'm plugging
beautiful.
along. I'm at the lace now, so I can't do it while we're on. So I'm doing another project, but
you are a smart woman. You know, I think that, as you know, we in the shop, of course, have been helping people pick and make choices. And it's kind of amazing how you can do your best guess, and then it's sort of like, okay, but I have to see how the magic really happens. I mean, so we have our little tricks where we kind of like can see where the end is, and we're like holding it up, or we're kind of like putting the two right next to each other, squinting our eyes from far away. But at a certain point, you're like, okay, I think I'm not sure, but like this seems like it's a fit. Like I think
Yes.
this is, and so there's art. I'm not sure there's as much science to this as normally we feel like when we're helping people choose, but
And
it
you
is
know what was
magical.
interesting? I did the Knitters Guild Association conference this weekend, and there were two that was really quite funny. So the first presentation I watched, and I don't remember her name, but she did a whole thing on adding mohair to your sweaters. And I thought that was really interesting. And the first sweater she highlighted was the Love Note, which I thought, okay, this is cool, right? She did a great job showing how different tones affect how everything plays out. She did a thing with the color wheel and all that. So that was really cool. And then Stephen West did a presentation Sunday morning, and he talked about color. And he basically said, you do what works for you. He says you can use the color wheel as a guide, he said, but just keep in mind, if you like that combination, you sometimes that makes it harder though.
So you cut out for just a minute, but it felt like a really important point. So say that last part about what Steven said again.
He said if you like the color combinations, go with them because they're yours. They're what you like. And I thought that was great. But then that makes it harder sometimes.
A lot of us have a lot of those like internalized rules about color and like what we can and can't wear.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Obviously, Steven is not a subscriber.
Not at all. They did a great
it.
presentation though. It was so entertaining and enjoyable.
That sounds awesome. I'm so glad that you did that. Any other like cool highlights from the sessions that weekend?
Yeah, there was another one. I can't remember what she the Nerdy Knitter. I don't know if you've seen her on YouTube. She's a certified master hand knitter, and she did a thing on variegated yarn, how to work with variegated yarn, how to maybe like it if you don't like it, because a lot of people are not thrilled with variegated yarn, and how it can, the pooling, the flashing, all that kind of stuff. That was a good presentation.
Did she talk about intentional pooling? Because I've heard about that so much lately.
She did, and I didn't catch all of it. So, but the nice thing is I can go back and watch all of them again for the next 6 months. So that's pretty cool. And then another one that was really good, there was a woman that was on, she's also on YouTube. I can't remember what her name is either off the top of my head, but she's a physical therapist. And she did a whole thing about the anatomy of a crafter, and talked about how to sit right, not sit right, but things to do to help you feel better so you can hopefully prevent some of those repetitive motion issues that we have, and how to sit so that you're not putting your head forward. The one thing I thought was the coolest thing, she talked about how your head is like 20 pounds. So when you sit forward, you're putting so much pressure, strain on the muscles in the back of your neck and your shoulders, that she gave some good insight into that too. So that was really cool. She's also online, and I can't remember her name, but I'll check them. I'll get them to you, Iris, so that
great.
I'm going to add them in.
That'll be great. I do remember something. I don't know if anybody else did the Fiberside chat when Carson Demers was on, and he's like an ergonomist and a physical therapist, and works with a lot of knitters, gives a lot of like private workshops, and but he talked about, and this was in his book, I think, if you think about the people that would have been involved with hand knitting, I mean, generations ago, they were doing a lot of different activities to get to that final knitting part. There was like sheep wrangling and sheep shearing and carding and spinning. And so like lots of different types of muscle groups. And so his theory was that like one of the reasons why we're having more repetitive injuries as we are now is also because we spend most of our days like doing fine motor with our little fingers at our computers, and PS having our necks down looking at our phones. And that plus then it's like, okay, I've been at work all day on my computer and now I just want to go home and knit and be using my poor little hands, you know. So the postural and the sitting and the support, that is really important to think about, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Laura, you have your hand up.
Ooh, I have a question about choosing yarn, which does seem to be a skill I'm still developing when it comes to sweaters. And I noticed in the pattern, it calls for a single ply for the fingering, which I'm guessing gives it some lightness and airiness, but I'm just wondering, I didn't choose a single ply, so I'm wondering like what are the pros and cons of a single ply? And is that right that it's a lighter yarn and gives it a lighter feel? Like why would you choose a single ply for this? I guess, yeah.
I think that you're probably onto something with the lightness factor, but like a fingering is a fingering as well. So there's that. I mean, like mine, this is a sock yarn. It's multi-plied. It fits fine, feels fine, still feels pretty light. But I would guess that some of the that, you know, when you have a single ply, so there's not a lot of tension, you're getting a lighter, somewhat more airy fiber feeling. That I think you're onto it with that. Anybody else have any thoughts about applied versus single ply as a fingering?
I think the single adds to that like cloudiness, that the cloud concept of that halo effect.
Yep.
Probably more for effect. What they did to have it come, you know, when they created the design, it was probably the look they were looking for.
Or possibly like also just like that's what the samples were made in, and yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for the question. So I'm knitting along on this swatch and like, wow, it's really see-through at this gauge. So I'm not sure. I might be going down a few needle sizes because this just seems like there's absolutely zero structure to what I'm working on. I don't even need to knit too much more of my swatch to know that. So I might be heading down to an 8. We'll see.
I've got some yarn to share.
Yeah, good.
So mine, since I just finished the Linto sweater, which calls for the same kind of yarns, you know, it's a single, a fingering weight with a mohair, and that was so light and fluffy that I was going to use another fingering weight, my favorite, Emma's. So this is one of the, August 23, and I love the crazy pinks.
Oh, pretty.
So I'm like, what can I do with this? And on your podcast, y'all were talking about this Susuro. So I got that from you guys.
Oh yeah, the silk paca. Oh
there
yes.
you go. So it's
Pretty.
perfect.
I love it.
I mean, it's not as fluffy. I knitted up a gauge swatch.
Oh
so
yeah. Oh,
it's shiny. I don't know if y'all, but
yeah,
it's
with the
got a little fuzz, but
yeah.
So that's my gauge swatch, and it's more pink than the Emma's, which I like, because the Emma's can be kind of crazy. I use that for a shawl already, and but yeah, the pink tones it down. So yeah,
nice,
stunning, Vicky. I love it. Yeah, a few of us choosing pink. I mean, I don't know. Where we live, we had snow all over the trees this morning, and it's pretty gross. In April in Maine is not a nice time. But I feel like we had a full gamut of bright sun, snow pelting down on us, like a crazy time today. But that's why I need to see something bright pink in my life right now.
I have another question. Are we supposed to cast on with the larger needle? Because it doesn't actually say. there it is. It says it. I see it. See, I just had to say it out loud for it to pop off the paper for me.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank
Yep.
you.
That was an easy one. You answered it yourself.
Yeah.
And you know the video that you did with the provisional cast on? That was fabulous because I've never been able to do that cast on. And it was so simple the way you did it. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this.
Well, that was again Stephen
Yeah.
West who blew my
Oh.
mind with that. Oh my
Uh-huh.
God. And same for me. Every time there was something about provisional cast on, I was like, not doing it. I don't want to try to futz around, and everything just seemed, it just never made sense to me. Like I just would end up frustrated and having to tear it out. And this was so easy. I'm glad it was helpful to you.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Good. And also such a good thing to know if you have a ball that is center pull and outside that you could cast on for like long tail and not have to estimate your yard at tail, which I'm terrible at.
Right, right.
In your video on swatching in the round, I decided to go ahead and do it even though I had already swatched. And I was really glad. The way you did it was very easy to follow. And I was so excited that both ways I got gauge, like on the needle that it calls for. That never happens for me.
Amazing. Amazing. I love
So I
that.
think I'm supposed to make this sweater.
It's all in the cards. Yes.
That's right. That's right.
We are almost here at the top of the hour, and so glad everybody popped in tonight, and really nice to see some yarn show and tell and hear about your love note beginnings. And next week, Julie will probably have her yarn, and let's see who else needed yarn. Karen, your yarn maybe will be with you next week. That'll be great. And we'll check back in for some more progress. And this week's knit along email have lots of tips about knitting lace for anybody that needs any refreshers or encouragement about that. So that'll be coming to you on Friday morning.
Very nice. Yay.
Everybody have a nice evening and enjoy your knitting. And I can't wait to see you all next week.
Awesome.
Thank
Have
you.
a great week, everyone. Bye.
All right, thanks.
Thanks,
Good night.
Iris.